everyone, this is Vanessa Gertman from AlpusCast. Welcome back to the Fireplace series. Today, we're going to do a quick walkthrough of the test project in our app. That way we can get ready to write tests in the next video. Let's get started. When we initialized our project, the Alpus Starter template actually configured a few things for us. You'll notice here there's a class called Welcome Test. And this is actually a small, simple test we can use as an example moving forward. Let's take a look at what's in here. The first thing I want to point out is that Welcome Test is a subclass of TestBase, and TestBase is a class in the Fireplace namespace. So this was also made by the Alpus Starter template. TestBase itself is a subclass of another class called TestBase, and this one is in Pulsar. Pulsar is the Alpus testing package. If you're interested in how testing is set up behind the scenes, you might want to read through this class here. All right, so now we kind of know how things are fitting together, let's talk about the actual test that's in here. You'll notice the name is Alpus Works. If you're new to Kotlin, this might seem a little strange, or it did to me at first anyway. Kotlin lets you use spaces in your test method names, as long as you surround the whole thing with backticks. The reason you might want to do this is if you're a fan of having long camel case names that are more sentence-like, you can use actual spaces to make them easier to read in the test output window. Now let's look at the actual test. So what's happening in here is that we're making a GET request on the path / and then checking that the view is what we expect, which in this case is welcome. This GET method is coming from Rest Assured. If you haven't used Rest Assured before, it's a package that makes testing and validating REST in Java a lot easier. Assert view is coming from TestBase in Pulsar. So this is that TestBase class we saw earlier. Now that we know what the test is doing, I'd like to run the test. But before that, there's one thing we need to configure, and that's our environment for test mode. Alpus lets you have a separate environment file for test mode, which is really handy. It lets you use a different database, maybe we want to change our mail client for tests, or even use fake API keys for services. Gives us a lot more flexibility. I'm going to start just by copying my current .env file. And I'm going to name that .env.testing. This is a special name, so you want to name your file the same. And that's going to let Alpus find it when it needs to run tests. In our case, there's actually not much we need to configure. The main thing I want to change is this database. I don't want to override my dev database while running tests. So I'm going to say that our DB database for test mode is Fireplace Test. I don't actually have that database yet, so let's make that in SQL Pro. And like we've done in past videos, I've connected to my root database, and all I'm going to do is add a new database. And now we're ready to run our tests. And you can see down here in the IntelliJ test window that our test passed. And that's where we're going to stop for the day. In the next video, we're going to add some tests for listing out projects. Thanks so much for watching. Catch you in the next video.